Shirts. 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 5 years ago, when I started Old Man Gaming, with absolutely no idea what I was doing, any direction, or any idea of how to make this channel successful, I can now say, with 100% certainty, that I've reached the mountaintop. Because I, like every other YouTuber, podcaster, blogger, vlogger, and whatever the hell else we do on the internet, have merchandise. Pointing in the wrong direction. Right, ladies and gentlemen, merchandise. I have created shirts, and I knew from the moment that I started this industry, with 0 subscribers, climbing all the way to the top to the insurmountable and unimaginable number of 462 subscribers, that I would one day be able to sell shirts for a reasonable price, I guess, kinda. And good shirts, I think, probably. Who knows? But don't take my word for it. Take these testimonials. Like William Hoolan, who says, "Love the back," crying, laughing face emoji. Can't imagine that that's good. Or Old Man Gamer, who says, "This will definitely protect your nipples from the elements." That's true. They will. A Small Mage, who says, "Alrighty, Discord actually coming in on my phone. Happy hand things. The size range is fantastic. I'll have to order one for Neil and me." Because, of course, the podcast co-host wouldn't just do it on his own. He needs somebody else to order it for him. Good job, Neil! Or Old Man Gamer that says, "These are definitely shirts. If there's one thing that can be said about these items, it's that they are 100% shirt." Yes, they are shirts. Shirt, shirt, shirt. Very much shirts. And then finally, this resounding, knockdown, absolutely loquacious, great testimonial from HopeChild6925. Nice. Indeed, Hopechild, they are nice. So do you want to get a shirt now? Have I convinced you to purchase one with this amazing ad? Well, you can head over to wizardsrespite.com and check it out in his store page. Or you can click the link below in most of my videos if I remember to actually put them in. Because, I'm one guy and I'm editing all these things and I forget a lot of stuff all the time. But if I remember to put them in, there'll be a link below and you could just click on it and then go and buy your shirt. Yay, shirts! We've done it. We've accomplished everything. I can finally retire.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I see the green, but I don't hear the sounds.
Well, then it's on you. If you see the green, then it's on you.
Try to speak in Morse code. Just like screech in Morse code into the microphone, and I'll figure out how it works. I can decipher Morse code.
Yeah, is that it?
Yeah, I see the green on both of our ends. So you can hear me and I can't hear you then. I wonder if this updated, because I know it's good for doing that. Oh, where the fuck? There we go. Oh, default everything. Go figure. Oh, Jesus Christ. How about now?
Yes.
Yeah, there it is. It's every time this thing fucking updates.
Yeah, mine does the same thing. Mine does the same thing, sir.
Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming. You, dear listener, have chosen for whatever reason to listen to another horrible gaming podcast. I am not alone. Usually I am never alone. With me is...
Wizard Tiny A, aka.
He's scraping the bottom of the barrel for new ways to say his name.
I kind of am. I kind of really am.
Well, we're at like 200 and
that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I think I might be able to circle back around here.
So yeah, we got a show for you today, guys. It'll be it'll be something. We're going to be talking about a subject that, no joke, Neil came up with when he was high, and I loved. So I'm excited about this. And yeah, we're gonna chat about the dumbest weapons in video games. And what's really interesting, and I realized probably 20 minutes before we were going to go live, so too late to course correct, is I forgot to get specifics of this, like whether dumbest weapons meant like the stupidest looking weapons, or dumbest meant most useless weapons, or like, because
so I actually have a little bit of both, weirdly enough. Yeah, definitely should have specified. Yeah, it's a little bit of all of that. Dumb in some way, be it from a game aspect, like how it is in the game, or its pointlessness, or just the sheer idiocy of the thing.
Honestly, this was a tough one for me, because the minute you said it, like, I was like, that's a great idea. And then all weapons from all video games just cleared from my mind.
Yeah.
As if meditatively, there was no way I could think of weapons, like any weapon, let alone like the stupidest weapon. So this should be interesting. Let's do it, though. Let's get into it. Before we do, we've got to thank the people who have made this possible. Behind our ugly mugs, you're seeing a custom graphic that was provided by Mr. Mark Bell. We thank him for that. Then, of course, the theme song for this show and all shows here at Old Man Gaming is provided by the man who makes the music, Nick Van Sliders. We thank him for that. We'll be right back. Fanteraction.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, it brings us to our first segment, our most important segment, that is Fanteraction. That's where we, the co-hosts, we talk to you guys, the fans, we read out your comments wherever we read them, we riff on them, we talk about them, we just interact with you, because we can do that, because we're a small show. So, first of all, we're going actually back 2 weeks, because if I see them, I like to try and remember to read them. William Houen posted on the video from 2 weeks ago, finally, and was like, "Hi!" exclamation point. How did I miss this episode? That's weird. I've been done with AAA games for a while, and ever been enjoying gaming as much as I do. Welcome to the club. #Toasty. Yeah, so this was obviously on the episode where I ranted, and basically I'm done with AAA games. I still am. I'm, like, for the most part, if it's not a game I already own, am I already playing, I am not going out of my way to buy any more AAA games for $70. I'm just not. I'm done. But yeah, I mean, the other thing is, though, it's not really been hard, because with the exception of Skull and Bones, which has been a up and down relationship, to say the least, there hasn't really been anything AAA that excites me in any way, shape, or form. And part of that is, of course, because I'm at this point where I just don't trust them anymore. I don't trust them to provide good entertainment anymore without too much downside, you know? So, like, the games that I'm really excited about, the games on my wish list on Steam, none of them are AAA games.
Yeah, I definitely, I mean, granted, my time and ability for gaming is a little bit different. Now I'm able to, you know, that some time is freed up, I've been able to at least get closer to sliding back into playing some games. But I know there's been, ever since I got this PC built, my Steam library has been slowly, ever so slowly growing with, you know, games here and there. And I feel like Steam is where I've really gone for the indie stuff overall. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's kind of like we've talked before about everything over and over again. You know, the indie space has kind of taken up the mantle because, you know, with the AAA game now, it's the second something's announced, the second, you know, we even know that it's a thing. How are they going to screw us over? How are they going to monetize it? Exactly. How are they going to this? Is it going to be live service? It's probably going to find a way to funnel live service into it for no reason absolutely whatsoever other than chasing trends. that AAA, the AAA space is just poisoning the water.
Yep.
So everybody's moved on to a new source, effectively.
Yeah. What's interesting too is it's kind of poisoning the water for only itself. It's actually making a space for indie games that elevates them in a weird way, because that's where you're going right now. That's where your money is going to be going. And again, I'm not, you look at Skull and Bones, and they have a sale right now where Skull and Bones is 50% off, and they're having a free-to-play weekend. It'll have been over by the time this comes out. Sorry, everybody out there, but if you missed it and wanted it by some chance. But it's down to like $35 right now. That's the price it should be. Like, that's the maximum amount of money that I think that game should be. As good as that game is, it just has so many microtransactions in it. That's where it should be. But yeah, there's just so much of AAA gaming that you're just expecting to get screwed by things that it's just not worth it anymore to be part of it. So, like, the things that I'm most excited for are not Light No Fire, Towerborn, Mirthwood. Like, those are the games that are truly exciting me as a player. And almost none of those are, maybe you could consider Light No Fire AAA, but barely, right? Like, Hello Games is, I would say it's on the cusp of AA to AAA. I
call them double.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, none of those really AAA games. And Rotwood is still my game of the year right now, hands down. So I don't know where we go with this, So now back to last week's episode. We only had one comment, and this fan interaction is all William Houin because it was William Houin. William Houin, hi! Exclamation point! Speaking of 2D brawlers, I've been playing Fight and Rage. Fight and Rage. I've never heard of that one lately, and I must say it's really, really crazy good. Like Streets of Rage 4 good. It's really fast-paced and focuses completely on the action, aka no RPG mechanics. I highly recommend it, although it's quite challenging. I promise I'll buy a shirt once the strike is over. Day 90 now, no end in sight.
Jesus.
Thanks for the show. Cheers. Hashtag I know I commented this time. It sucks about the strike, man. We're pulling for you, and we'll try and keep some content coming. As far as I will say this, I want to play Fight and Rage. That sounds interesting, but I like the RPG mechanics when they make it into the 2D brawler space. I think we need more RPG mechanics in the 2D brawler space.
I would agree.
Like River City Girls did, like River City Girls, like Rotwood, like stuff like that. I feel like I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that replayability. And don't get me wrong, I'm still playing Streets of Rage 4. I love Streets of Rage 4. I still boot that fucker up and achieve and hunt for achievements when I've got the time and there's nothing else striking my fancy. It's a great game. I'm not saying those games aren't great and don't have a place for it. It's just I am way more excited when they say that they are adding some of those additional mechanics. I think 2D brawler space really needs to, I think 2D brawlers, and I could be overstepping my bounds, but I think 2D brawlers at this point could compete with any AAA game out there if they put the right amount of stuff on it. You know what I mean? And I think it's ripe for that because a 2D brawler does not require as much space or data graphically, right? To look good. The best 2D brawlers are sprite based almost, So it's not like it's going to eat your graphical time or whatever, but I think you add those RPG mechanics, maybe an open world to it. I think you could really, really make some interesting stuff here. And since they're already kind of small, you could make them huge in scope. You know what I mean? Because they're small graphically. And I think that they could really, really, really have a comeback,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they're basically, like we've mentioned before, effectively in your own little renaissance right now. Coming back, in the form of all these sequels and stuff. And I think we talked about it, what was it, last year when Sega had their thing at their, at least a little bit of a news that came out about what they have coming.
Yeah.
They're looking at rebooting franchises and stuff. And another Streets of Rage and another Golden Axe looked like, from what they showed in that trailer, there were like splash images. Those things right there. Those are two, side-scrolling brawler games. Now, what they'll be, in the future, who knows? They'll probably, 3Dify them or change them up in some other way. But, those names are like a brand that are starting to come back into the zeitgeist.
Just give them to Lizard Cube. Like, .mu and Lizard Cube. And let them make all of them, Let's see Golden Axe come back with that. Let's see... I'd love to see, I know that this isn't Sega, but let's see the Knights of the Round. You remember that shit for Super Nintendo? That game was awesome. No?
That's a game I'm not even familiar with.
Look that up. That's great. It's Lancelot, Percival, and King Arthur, and it's a 2D brawler. It is amazing. I'd love to see that come back. I really want to see... one thing that I'm very scared of is the sizzle reel that you are talking about showed like a little clip of Streets of Rage 5. And it didn't look 2D brawler-ish. It looked like 3D run around the map Sifu style. And I was like, don't do that with Streets of Rage. People will be so mad so fast. Like, unless you get it perfect, and you can't, But yeah. That's it for Fantraction, brother.
Alrighty.
Do you want to get into the stupidest weapons or the dumbest weapons?
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure my dumbest weapons are just going to piss a lot of people off, so including possibly you. So
I run the gamut.
I am very interested to see what you have. All right, we'll be right back with the dumbest weapons and games. Pause.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
That brings us to our talking point today, ladies and gentlemen, and we decided to do the dumbest weapons in video games. I only have 3 that I can think of. I might come up with more, as Neil says his, just because it might remind my brain to think of weapons, which it has just failed to do for the last 2 days. But yeah, I only have 3 that I think are stupid. You got 6.
I got 6.
Should I just do my 3 and get them out of the way then?
Yeah, if you want. And then
maybe it'll take 1 or 2 of yours. I doubt it.
Yeah, if you want.
I can't imagine you have the 3 that I have. Okay. All right. My number 1 stupidest weapon. I'm going to start with my most stupidest. You can do it any way you want, but I'm going to start with my most stupidest. And this isn't just dumb on a dumb scale. This is dumb on a useless scale. This is dumb on all scales. And this is... And I cannot remember the specific name of the gun, but it is... Oh, it's the gun from...
Dude, that was 3. On my list.
All right.
The gun. Yes.
Great. That's the only one that got... It's the stupidest fucking gun. It is a gun that shoots guns.
It's stupid as shit. And you would think...
It's so
You would
stupid.
think with Borderlands being Borderlands, they would find a way to like, okay, so, yeah, you load it with Iridium, but...
Right.
When you fire it, it fires guns that are firing. If it was like that,
yes.
I mean, it would still be in the realm of stupid, but it wouldn't be useless.
Right.
You're just burning Iridium in hopes that it's a loot drop that's good.
It's a perpetual loot machine, and what's even worse about it is this loot machine never drops anything useful, like ever.
No.
You can talk to Phil Billy about this. He hates that fucking thing. It's terrible because you just feed Iridium to it to never get the good drops ever.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the boss drops you can't even get out of it. Like it doesn't even give you access to all the guns in the game.
Sure, yeah.
So like the drops that you get percentage wise, it's not worth it to put the Iridium in it. And yeah, no. I'm with you. One thing that pissed me off is that was one of the ads. Remember? Like, in the ads, they were like, we even have a gun that shoots guns. And I was like, that's exciting. What does that look like? And I was thinking exactly what you thought. Where, like, it was like a Teodor. Where, like, you'd shoot it, and then the gun would come out and bounce around and shoot, And it would just keep doing that. But it doesn't do that. It's a loot drop. It's fucking terrible. It is useless. I hate that fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's also a fixed drop. It's not even like a special, unique thing. You get it for doing a quest for the Danny DeVito guy. Like, that's, like, you get it, like, midway through the game, and you're like, okay. Like, it just doesn't even pop out anything that it's useful. Like, I hate that gun. I hate it so much.
I think we fired it one time. because I remember looking at the ammo, and the ammo was iridium. I'm like, oh, Jesus, what the hell? And I'm like reading over the specs on it and everything. I'm like, so what's the damage? Like, okay, I guess not. And we fired it one time just to see what happened. And I remember the frame rate, because we were playing on, I believe we were still playing on
screen?
the 1S at that point. The frame rate absolutely tanking. So I was like, okay, never again with that one.
That's funny. All right, so that's my number one dumbest. I'm pretty sure the other two you're not going to have. But number two is probably a weapon you love because you bought a replica of it. It sits behind you. Is that stupid-ass Cloud Strife Buster Sword. It is the dumbest, most inopportune weapon I've ever seen. First of all, I think a Claymore is a little ridiculous. Yeah. But at least the Claymore has a double edge, so you can kind of whirlwind it around, take some people out. I kind of get it. The Buster Sword is 3 times the size of a Claymore. It only has one blade. That means if you miss, you're dead, because you're never going to get a chance to bring it back around to hack somebody. Because at least the Claymore is double edged, so you can swing it back the other way. You can't do that with a Buster Sword. You miss, you fucking over. That thing is the stupidest, dumbest thing. At least Sephiroth's blade, which is ridiculously long. It looks like it's light enough that you could use it. The Buster Sword is like half of a station wagon, like stapled to a rod, and that you're supposed to swing at somebody. It is the other thing too. Could you imagine the practical use of that? Like, when you're trying to sneak into a building and it's just like bouncing off the walls and getting caught in the elevator and like slamming into doors and stuff. Like, or, hey, let's try it. That's another thing. If you ever play Final Fantasy VII, there's a huge fight in an elevator. How the fuck is he using that sword in an elevator? How is there enough room to use that sword in an elevator? It's insane. That sword is nuts, dumb, stupid. The minute I saw it, I was like, what is that?
It almost made my list, actually.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, no. There are ones on here that are... I do not pull any punches effectively. I know full well that that's stupid. And actually, one of the other ones on my list, just because we're talking about Final Fantasy weapons, from Final Fantasy VIII, the Gunblades,
so stupid.
Also absolutely stupid.
So stupid.
I mean, I remember being in high school like, oh my god, this is so cool. It's a gun and a sword, so you can swing and shoot. The practicality of it is insane.
Ridiculous.
For it to actually be a sword to do something with. Right. The barrel on that thing is huge.
Right.
How do you, like, practically reload it? Like, what is the objective? Are you supposed to stab somebody and then while they're stuck, shoot them?
It would come out behind them if you stabbed them too far.
Yeah, the weight of it, if you were actually trying to aim to shoot, is like all over the place. Like, you would not be able to do anything that you needed to do with that.
I also want to point out, like, when I saw the blade, like, in Final Fantasy VII, I feel like the writer of Final Fantasy VII, the original, had just had, like, a girlfriend call his manhood small, and, like, you know what I mean? Like, he was like, no, sword's got to be bigger. I felt like somebody should have just, like, grabbed his shoulder and been like, you okay? Somebody say something right to you, man? Like, because I feel like you're compensating for something, like, right now. Like, somebody definitely made you feel like bigger is better. This is not bigger is better. The Gunblades... they're so fucking stupid. And then the revolver in the blade, like, do you know how fucked up that would be if you stab somebody? Like, how quickly the revolver would get fucked up from blood and sinew getting into the revolver part of it? Like, it's not even... that was what blew my mind about the Gunblades. They're not even automatics, which have... no. I mean, not to be ridiculous about guns for a second, but automatics have a closed chamber, right? So, like, it's a slide release... doohickey, but everything in it is closed. You can't really, like, get to the bullet once it goes into the clip into the gun, right? Unless you, like, rack the slide. With the fucking revolver, you could see the bullets in a revolver. In a revolver chamber, you could see the bullets because that's how it works. It like slowly rotates the bullets into the position they need to be in. Could you imagine attacking, like, say, and this is a world with mythical creatures. Could you imagine attacking something that was fiery? It would detonate your bullets in your gun.
Even better, sword clashes. In fact, the opening animation
Sparks
shows
everywhere.
sword clashes. Yeah, two gun blades just like attacking each other. One miss, or not even a miss, if they slide down to where the chambers actually are, they just both explode. Like
right. It's mutually assured destruction.
Yeah.
Don't go for a blade slide or everybody dies. Yeah, those weapons are stupid. I hate to say it, but anime comes up with some dumb fucking weapons. Oh yeah. Like they do. Yeah. They are all about like style and look and not about practicality in any way, shape, or form. I don't think this made your list. I don't even think this is a gun weapon or whatever, but like just to add in there, any anime which has knuckles that explode or detonate in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. You're going to take your fingers off. What are you doing there? You're putting explosives on your hand that you're punching with? That's insane. My last one, and this only barely counts as a video game weapon. It definitely started as a movie weapon, then made its way into games. And I know a lot of people are going to get mad at me out there, because I'm sure it made for a lot of cool duels and stuff, but the double-sided lightsaber is the most impractical, silly weapon. It is. I remember watching Duel of Fates for the first time in theaters, and when he ignited the other side, I'm like, oh, he better be careful with that. like that is just one wrong twist, and you're just in half. Like, you realize that, right? Like, you try and spin that inwards in any way, shape, or form, you drop that thing. You're taking off a leg. Like,
oh yeah,
dual-sided lightsabers are just fucking stupid as hell to me. Nobody can convince me that they're like smart or practical. I just looking at them, I'm like, man, I can't get behind this.
Yeah, I almost feel like there's the lightsabers are their own separate list because there's that one. And then there's Dooku's lightsaber, which is at like a 45 or not a 45 degree
it's
angle.
Like a pistol.
Yeah, it's like a pistol, but not actually. And then they really reached the peak with Kylo Ren's with the effectively the blade guards.
Kylo Ren at least makes sense to me, because if I was fighting with somebody with a lightsaber, the first thing I would do a blade slide, and I'd tuck their fucking hand off, and that would be that. At least Kylo Ren's stops the incoming blade from coming down, onto your unprotected fingers.
But here's the problem that I have.
Okay.
You then have to worry about the orientation
this is true.
The lightsaber.
This is true.
So there's more shit you have to keep track of.
This is true. I mean, don't even go into the comics where they have that one person with the like chain lightsaber and just spinning that shit around in the air. I'm like, oh man, now we're real dangerous, man. Well, I had a party. You can't send them in with a group because they're gonna take out their friends.
Just take everybody out.
That's all of mine. That's all of them.
So,
that's all the ones I can come up with.
So we already talked about one of the ones that I had, the gun. Gun was my first two come from Kingdom Hearts. The first one, very obviously, being the Keyblade.
A litany of stupid weapons in Kingdom Hearts.
There's a litany of stupid weapons.
The Keyblade, which is neither a key nor a blade, in my opinion. Like, it has no sharp edges. Blade. It has no sharp edges that I can see.
It's all blunt.
Does it unlock a door at any point?
It locks doors. Locks keyholes. It locks keyholes and is explained away as to why you can unlock chests. Okay. But locked doors, can't do it. And they really didn't even it wasn't until I think it was...
It has to be a box-like structure to get to open. Just the thought of that, why can't it open doors? Because it's flat.
So flat. I don't think it was until Kingdom Hearts 2 that they were like, oh wait, shit, this is supposed to be a sword. And they put like relatively sharpish edges on it. I think it's more so a Disney thing. They were like, oh, you can't have anything sharp that can cut somebody. You know, throw Sephiroth in there though. But what, you know, whatever.
I mean, in fairness, Hercules is just running around with a sword.
Yeah.
You
For
know?
reasons.
Yeah. They also have a movie with sword in the title, so there's that as well. The Sword in the Stone. Sword in the Stone.
Oh.
It's in the title.
Yeah.
It's in the title of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was like, wait, what? And it was like, yeah, I figured we were talking about. The other one from Kingdom Hearts, in Kingdom Hearts 2, there is a character that's a nobody. And his weapon is just a big-ass guitar that he'll kind of swing around-ish, but not really. The whole thing is him not even actually really doing anything with it. It's him just playing it to make water clones of himself that force you into a succeed or instantly lose section in a boss fight. I remember even back in the day looking at this like, wow, this guy's going to fight me with a guitar. And I was stuck there for a long fucking time because it's just so dumb. I think half of it is just the fight itself being the way that it was.
Right.
But yeah, what's just like, yeah, oh, it's a fucking, yeah, this is a guitar. Yeah. Like I guess it's technically a sitar, but you know, whatever. Yeah, tons of those stupid weapons in Kingdom Hearts, but those are like the first two that really come to my mind.
I mean, with the guitar, I don't mind when it's like they're magical, you know, and they're playing the guitar and it's dealing like spells or AoE effects. That's cool. But when you're just like bashing somebody with a guitar, it's just stupid, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of does. Like he'll
I'm sure he
string
does
it,
have a
and
couple,
there's like a wall of water, you know, whatever. But he doesn't really do the things with it.
Right.
Another one that I have on here. Granted, it is absolutely 100% like in the world, and it makes sense, but it's just so fucking stupid. The nuke launcher from Fallout. What was it?
Dude,
Batman?
I almost put this. Yeah, I almost put this on my list. I almost put this on. This was the only other one I could think of, and then I was like, I mean, but it's throwing
just
a nuke at
so
people.
ridiculous.
But
like,
it is ridiculous. It's over the top.
I think of it objectively. The world that has been destroyed by nuclear warfare. You know what? Somebody out there is, I'm going to make a tiny nuke launcher. Because it went so well for us before.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
It's a little,
I agree with that one.
It's a little overkill.
it is overkill. And it's, the other thing is too, like so much comes with nukes that like radiation and stuff. Like what's your safe distance on a slingshot that throws a nuke at somebody? You know?
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. It's not even really a gun. It's like a catapult thing that like pops a nuke out at people.
And to actually kind of piggyback off of that, another one that it's got the same energy, but the BFG from Doom. I feel like it's just this is one that I feel like people would be like, what? Like, hear me out. It has the same aura as a kid who is making up rules to a game while you're playing it, just so that he wins constantly. Because that's all the BFG is. You go into the room and fire it, and everything's just instantly dead.
Yeah. Big fucking gun.
Yeah, and there was another Doom weapon that almost made it onto my list. The machine gun, especially in Doom Eternal, the machine gun has there's like two forms for each weapon, and there's one that turns it into a mounted turret. No exaggeration. It turns one turret into two that then goes over your entire body and locks you in place, and you just blast everywhere. And it's like, cool as shit.
Yeah.
Cool as shit. But what is the practicality of this? I know the Doom guy can do some shit, but holy fuck.
Yeah. That's funny. I don't know. I never played that one. The nuke thing, the other thing too that I don't understand is like the whole idea of a nuke is you split an atom and you get that explosion, right?
Yeah.
Like, so how do you make little nukes? Like anytime that's used in like games and movies, I'm like, how is it a small nuke? I thought that was the whole point.
Even smaller atoms.
right. I thought the whole point was like the smallest it could be is like a mile. Like, why are we shooting little nukes at people? Like, how is that working? You know, I don't understand. I don't understand those parts at all.
No, absolutely not.
No, definitely not.
I have two more. One of them's kind of a stretch, but
okay.
I guess. But the first one that I have that's an actual weapon from Skyrim.
Ooh,
the Wabbajack.
Which one's the Wabbajack?
The Wabbajack.
Why am I not remembering that?
When you go into, I think it's in Solitude. There's like a wing of the castle, and it transports you to like another realm. And one of those deities, I forget the name of him, is there. And if you go on a quest line, it's a staff that you get. And when you fire the staff, literally anything can happen.
I've never found this.
Anything.
This is exciting. I'm gonna find this now.
Oh, that is fucking crazy. Like, to get it, it's like you go through like the side quest. It's like the dude tells you a story and you're supposed to infer what you're supposed to do based on the story to like end the story. And once you get through it enough, he's like, okay, this was fun enough. Here you go. Here's this thing. Go cause chaos. And it really is like you can shoot a fireball. You can just have like some random shit, just like a giant just pops out like out of nowhere. Like it is absolute butt fucking
I gotta find
insanity.
this thing.
It is crazy. I'm astounded you hadn't come across it.
No, I haven't even heard of it.
I'm astounded you never come across it. Yes.
Surprises me because I've watched a lot of stuff on Skyrim and I've done a lot of stuff with Skyrim, so I'm very surprised that I'm not even aware of the Wabbajack. That is exciting to me. I mean, I was already going to go back into Skyrim for a different reason, but that's exciting to me. That's a very exciting thing.
Seek that one out. To be fair, I mean, it's good for a laugh.
Yeah.
You have some wild shit happen.
I want to play the entire game with it. That would be a challenge, man.
One time I remember I did just die. Like, I don't know what happened. I have literally no idea what it wasn't like there was an explosion or anything like that. I had it. I pointed it at something. The second it finished the animation, I just fell over dead.
Oh, that's
never going to know what happened.
That's hysterical. That is hysterical. That's hysterical. I did not know about that at all. No, that's kind of fun. I love that game because there's still stuff like I just don't even know about.
And the last one is kind of a stretch.
Okay.
Because it's more like I didn't really put it as a solid one on the list here because I just kind of came up with this one on the fly. But in Sonic and Knuckles, the boss at the end of the Lava Reef Zone, where I'm not sure if you remember this or not, when you go through, you climb up this hill thing, Knuckles punches a big old gem and it knocks you down into a pit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're in the boss fight with Robotnik. Mm-hmm. But the whole thing is like a moving level, and you just have to like hop over ledges and stuff. Then you get to a spot where there's a lava fall, and you effectively have to make your way all the way down to the bottom of this lava fall. And Home Slice just pops up from the lava and tilts it and just fires bombs into the air. And all you do is have to jump from platform to platform as they're moving uniform in a line and not get hit by the bomb that's just sitting there and have him damage himself.
Right.
What?
Right.
Like, I can see the purpose of some of these machines that he makes. Like, even from Sonic 1, just swinging a ball back and forth. Like, eventually, it's a wrecking ball. You'll hit something. Oh, a car with a drill on the end that just drives back and forth.
Yeah, the car. I was just about to mention that.
I'm sure you can hit something somehow one way. But an elaborate scheme that involves you creating a lava-proof thing with the sole purpose of you dunking yourself in the lava and hurting yourself, because that's the only way that could have been designed. Couldn't have ever contemplated anything else. and having the blue hedgehog, known for speed and agility, just jumping from platform to platform as you are having them come through uniformly to you.
He definitely designed a lot of things that were made for an agile hedgehog to deal with. You know what I mean? Like it was definitely like, you know what the only weakness is? If he's really fast and he can turn into a buzzsaw. Well, then I'd be in trouble. That's all he does, Robotnik. That's it. That's his only thing. That's his 2 moves. Speed, agility, buzzsaw. That's it. That's all he's got. Right. What I find funny about that is the fact that the bombs hurt him at all. He's lava proof, but explosives?
But explosives, yeah.
but explosives are doing it, man. Some light explosives? Okay, all right. I'm very confused by that. I feel like the lava would get you first, but what do I know? Okay, well, let me flip the script since we got through this real fast. Coolest weapon that you could think of right off the bat.
Oh, gee, it's tough. That's tough. I didn't come prepared on this one.
That's why I'm hitting you with the fasties.
You know, I've always had a soft spot for the energy sword from Halo.
Oh, that's fair. That is a good one. That's a good one to pick.
Yeah, the energy sword. It's just so slick, and it's one of those things to where it's not like constantly like a blade that's always out. It's like a lightsaber, effectively. Yeah. Truthfully, you know, the Jedi could learn something from the manufacturer.
Yes, they could.
Calling it back to earlier. The Jedi could learn something from the manufacturer of the energy sword.
Look at this energy sword. I can't accidentally hurt myself that easily, and yet my fingers are protected.
Exactly. My only weakness is somebody with a shotgun.
And that's only if they see me first. Mine, probably because I've been playing it a lot, it's real simple, and that is just a trident and a buckler, and that is used by the gladiator in For Honor. And the way he uses it in For Honor makes me so happy. He's my favorite character. He's my main in For Honor. And basically the way he uses it is like, he's got this little buckler shield on one hand, and then on the other hand, he's got a full-size trident, but he uses it with only one hand. And what he'll do is he'll flip it up, so he's always got it over his shoulder, and he'll just like poke at him, and he'll do this like running stab thing, which is amazing. The other thing is the buckler he uses to punch people. I love the buckler punch, which is amazing, but then the best part about the Glad, the absolute best part, and the reason he is my favorite, is one of his moves is an unblockable foot stab. So, like, it's my favorite move so much. Basically, you're fighting a guy, and if you hit down an X, he just stabs their toe. like every time, and it's unblockable. They can dodge it, or they can parry it, but it's unblockable, so you can stab them. And if they're out of stamina, you will stab them, pull the trident back, and let it whack them in the face so that they fall over. It makes me my day so happy every time I get the foot stab off. Even when I lose, like, I'll just foot stab them over and over and over again. I love trident buckler. I just love the trident buckler on the Gladiator from For Honor. It's the first thing that jumps to my head, that just leaps out at me.
You know, it's kind of funny because, like, I don't know if it's the same thing that you were dealing with whenever we presented the idea for the show, for the topic.
Okay.
But I'm really having a hard time thinking of, like, super cool weapons, because there's been stuff that I've seen before. It's like, man, that's cool as fuck. But I can't, like, recall any of it from the top of my head.
Yeah, it's difficult. Like, I liked some weapons that were, like, designs. Like, I loved the revolvers in Borderlands. Were amazing, just because of the fanning the bullet, and they always spun the trigger super fast, and it gave you that kind of sense of power. Cool weapons, a shotgun from Halo for certain. I would say if we're quoting that one. Let me think. What else? I always like the Great Axe from Skyrim too. That fucking thing.
Great Axe from... I like, another Halo weapon that I think is kind of cool in its, like, uniqueness and how it functions is the light rifle. So, yeah, the light rifle winds up... Yeah, it's like a... if I remember correctly, it'll do a 3-shot burst from the hip whenever you're shooting. But if you go into the scope, your shots are more precise and more powerful. But the whole thing, whenever you go down the scope, if you're just shooting from the hip, the gun's there. But when you go down the scope, the whole thing fans out and like surrounds your head. I think that's cool as shit on the design standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I'd also shout out some of the cannons in Skull and Bones, actually. Like, I know they got mocked a little bit when it started to come out, but some of the concept weapons they did in that game are just really cool. Like, aside from all the evil shit that Skull and Bones has, like, they have, like, shotgun cannons and, like, they have, like, rockets and mortars, and they do all sorts of weird, crazy shit. The flamethrower on the front of the ship was always a fun one of mine. It's just this big cannon that just like gushes flame out, so you could just drive into them, shooting flame all over them. Like, I think that there was some really cool concept weaponry in Skull and Bones. I love the idea of like, yeah, let's do pirates, but let's just be fucking nuts about it.
Yeah.
That I really liked about that. So that's a good nod as well. I'm sure there's other ones out there that I'm going to think of the minute we stop doing this. That's usually how it works, right?
Usually how it works, yes.
I do have one more cool one, and it's from Rotwood. Rotwood has this weapon called the Strikers. They're literally giant volleyballs that are studded, and you throw them at your enemies, and then they bounce off your enemies. Remember, this is a 2D brawler, and then you can hit them in midair, and anybody who hits them, whether it's an enemy or another player or yourself, sends the ball flying. So you can be like fighting them while these balls are just like flying around, whacking them over and over again, and I think that's really cool. Like, it's a really cool, innovative way to do a 2D kind of brawling sort of situation, and I love that, like, that double level of comboing that's going on,
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. Well, I guess we've done it, right?
I do believe we have done it.
All right. Well, we're going to go do some news. You have some news stories today, I'm assuming?
I do have some news stories.
We have some news stories that we will attend to, and we'll be right back with that.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the news. Neil collects smaller stories that don't necessarily deserve a talking point that we want to let you know about. We want to keep you informed about. Neil, how many you got today? And what's your first one?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, my God.
And that's weeding some out, so I'm not doing it forever. The first one,
I'm sure they're all fun, and none of them are going to make me hate the world around me.
I mean, there's one of them that may kind of get you, kind of grumpily, but I tried to avoid those ones.
All right, let's face it. I come to this show grumpily. There's nothing.
I very
nothing
much
anybody
tried
can do about that.
I try to weed out the absolute dastardly. Put it that way.
You're a swell chap.
So, more news on the handheld gaming PC front, and it's crazy that like this is totally just taking off. It's a bunch of things all at once. So the ROG Ally X has basically officially been announced. It's just a repackage for the most part. They do have a bigger battery in it, so your playtime's a bit better. Extra vents. No word yet though if they fix that nasty SD card frying issue.
Yeah.
I
would hope that would be step one if they're releasing completely new hardware.
I don't know how into everything you are with that. ROG has been like a really shit company when it comes to that sort of stuff. Basically, if somebody wanted a repair of an issue like their joysticks, if there's any sort of like chips or like maybe like a little blemish on the shell of the case, they basically would say, yeah, so you're gonna get this replaced as well, like forcing repairs on people. And it's stuff that people are like, yeah, no, that's fine. I don't care about that. I care about the functionality of the device. No. You need to get the perfect condition back, and stuff that they weren't clear about necessarily on everything. There was a site. There's a YouTube channel effect. It's called Gamers Nexus that they go through and they do a lot of like PC stuff mostly, and they have a couple videos on everything going on with ROG. Basically, ROG has just been a bunch of assholes, and they've not really been very clear on everything when it comes to like their repair policies and everything like that. So, but that's kind of got off on a tangent. But yeah, ROG has ROG has a new announcement with that.
That is a bummer.
And
I would hope that they still fix that issue, considering new hardware is coming out. That's for sure. I don't know. We are in a weird space where I think everything's about to get very crazily portable. Which I did not think would ever happen again. But it looks like that's where everybody's going.
Oh, yeah. Well, Lenovo is making a cheaper version of the Legion Go. And then they're also doing Zotac. It's like a third party. They do like graphics cards and stuff. They're not necessarily a huge name in the space, but they're going to be announcing. They've teased the Zone, which is their that's their portable gaming handheld device. So now we're going to get
stuff. Names are so terrible. They're just so terrible. The console names are terrible. The fucking hardware names are terrible. Everything about them is, God, they're just so like you just when somebody says the word to you, you see somebody with like sunglasses, with like an energy drink in one hand, like wanted for date rape somewhere. Like that's the kind of like character you see in your head. Like, dude, step into the zone. Like, bro,
pick my zone up, bro.
Oh, I hate it. It's so disgusting. Their names are terrible, man. Oof.
So from there. The next one, Marvel is actually releasing an interactive Marvel game based off of the What If series on Disney Plus.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
that series that not a lot of people like. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. To be fair,
okay. I've heard criticisms. Is all. I'm saying.
No, there's definitely stuff to criticize about it, but I feel like there's a lot of criticism to be leveled at this because the What If game is unfortunately strictly only available on the Apple Vision Pro.
Why?
No idea.
Isn't Disney at odds with Apple? Like, that just seems weird to me.
It's so crazy. Yeah. Right. It's so crazy that you can only play it on like a $3,000+ system.
Yeah, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. It also means it probably sucks because systems that cost that much don't have good games. Like usually, you know what I mean? Like, or not a good library.
Yeah. So there's rumors floating around that Xbox's next console is going to be more so a reference design. And for those not in the know, basically a reference design is how video cards work. So NVIDIA has their main card that they put out, and NVIDIA has like, you know, their own graphics card, but you can buy Asus makes, Zotac that we talked about earlier makes, ROG, which is basically Asus, but all of these different companies have their own video card, but it is the NVIDIA card.
The proprietary technology.
So basically, to simplify it,
anybody can make an Xbox console.
If this is true, yeah, anybody can make an Xbox. They're licensing out the Xbox name and making their own Xbox.
That is Xbox to a T. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's what they were doing. Xbox loves this shit, man. They love to... Here's what Xbox does. Here's what Phil Spencer and Xbox does, okay? They look at gaming, and they don't think, how do we make better games? How do we make a better console? Here's what they do. They look at it and they go, where are the cracks that we can put our greasy little fucking tendrils in? That's what they do. And they worm their way into everything because they know that it doesn't matter how many good games they have. It doesn't matter how good their system is. What matters is how much of the foundation of gaming they're a part of. And if you look at what they've done over the last 10 years, like purchased a bunch of companies, not even really to have them make games, but to own them so that other people can't have them, period. They've created Game Pass, which is like, this is our little space. We're going to worm our ways into the fabric. So now, how many people don't have Game Pass? You know, like, it's a huge subscription, probably the biggest subscription in gaming. Well, definitely the biggest subscription in gaming, without a doubt. Now they are looking at their exclusives, that they did have exclusives, they're now selling in other places, on other consoles. Because that's how they get themselves in the fabric of Sony, in the fabric of Switch and Nintendo. Now they're talking about doing that. This is how they get themselves into the fabric of the tech industry. This is what they do. They weave their way into the fabric of the floor that we're standing on, so that we can't get rid of them. They're part of the floor, okay? Mm-hmm. Everything else we're buying, it doesn't matter because they touch it. That's what they're doing. They are the fucking wormy little... They're the ants in your walls. Like, that's what these fuckers are. Oh, I wouldn't in any way doubt it whatsoever.
Well, I wonder if next week at Microsoft Showcase, if we're actually going to get that information.
Next week's going to be a crazy week because it's Microsoft, then it's not Sony. It's somebody the day right after, then it's Summer Games Fest.
Yeah.
It's like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is all the big game announcements, and it starts with Xbox. Xbox is the 7th, right? Yeah, 7th.
Yeah, the 7th,
7th, and then there's something. Oh, Ubisoft. Ubisoft is on the 8th. Ubisoft's on the 8th, and then the 9th is Summer Games Fest. So, like, right off the bat, you've got 3 big shows there.
Yeah, and
Sony's already shot their shot. I don't see Nintendo doing anything. So, other than announcing the console probably later in the year. So those 3 are going to be the big ones.
And just to bring it up, because I didn't even write it down on this list, because we just kind of talked about it here briefly. Sony did have their showcase, their state of play.
Yeah, the state of play.
Unless they have some super secret shit that they're going to unload at Summer Game Fest and not at their own state of play, which would be absolute insanity, I feel like. But it's very clear. It's very clear that they said it before too. Sony really don't got a lot going this year.
No, and I think the biggest news at their state of play was the Monster Hunter Wilds showcase, and that's cross platform. Mm-hmm. So like that's not even a normal thing. I almost feel like they asked Capcom to do them a solid, because that's the only thing they had. And then even Monster Hunter Wild said we're going to show more at Summer Games Fest, which is like, okay, so you didn't have shit for shit. Yeah, I think that the Xbox showcase is going to be big. It's also going to be 50% promises that we're not going to get. It's potentially going to herald the raising of our Games Pass subscription prices. I think you're going to get a fuck ton of Call of Duty news that I don't give a shit in a river about.
They already pulled off. The Call of Duty thing is its own separate after show thing. Mm-hmm. They've already confirmed now. There are rumors about it, but it has been confirmed now that the next Call of Duty is going to launch in Game Pass, which is going to be, like you mentioned, the ushering of, hey, by the way, the cost of Game Pass is going to go up. Yeah. How I think they're going to word it is they're going to make mention of all these different things for Game Pass. I think they're going to have a new feature rollout of some sort. What that would be, who knows? Right. But they're going to have a new feature rollout and not say anything about the cost going up during the conference itself. Yeah. But in the middle of Summer Game Fest, while everyone's talking about everything else under the sun, about all these different games and everything, they're going to drop news. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Game Pass is going up like $5 a month or something stupid.
I do think that the Ubisoft one could be very interesting to me. I'm kind of surprised to even see it there, because Ubisoft has been kind of gutting themselves lately, and they don't really have a lot to talk about. They've actually just canceled like 4 or 5 games. So like I don't know why they're doing a big gaming showcase. So, like, I'm very interested. Like, do they have something up their sleeve that we don't know about, or is it just going to be another one of these, like, Assassin's Creed fests that they've been doing lately?
And what's crazy too is that they had out of the blue the Prince of Persia other game that just came out.
Yeah,
that's like from the
still not
people
the
who
game we
did Dead
want, but
Cells.
yeah.
Like that's out of the blue. You know, funny that we've now gotten 2 Prince of Persia games since they announced the remake of Sands of Time, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
Right?
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, why is Prince of Persia in my news? Oh, we've got another new. Like, what are you doing with that IP?
Right. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming up with Summer Game Fest kicking off next week. I'm sure that's probably going to be the focus of a lot of our conversation for next week's episode.
I am hoping for some Light No Fire news. Not gonna lie, really, there's a lot of rumors saying that they're gonna talk about it heavily at Summer Games Fest. I'm hoping for a release date. I think it's gonna be soon. I'm really hoping for some information on that one. I do have one newsy story, that I'm sure you didn't put on, and that is No Man's Sky did another update.
I saw that.
Hi, fucking A, man. Those guys, just anybody out there who wants to know how to run a games as service, look no further than this game that is not a games as service. Fucking No Man's Sky, man. This is like what the fucking, I think it's something like 30-second free update to that game. That just keeps going. Like, and I love the fact that they announced Light No Fire, and a lot of people were like, well, No Man's Sky's finally done. And since they announced Light No Fire, there have been 3 major title updates to No Man's Sky. I think that's fucking huge. It's awesome. And I'm glad that they keep doing it. And the update is supposed to include, like, you can choose to go to a galaxy that has no other life forms in it. Like it's like it'll procedurally generate a whole galaxy. A whole like universe, not even just the one like little solar system, a whole universe, but all of the people. It's called a abandoned universe, and there's no vendors, no nothing. You have to just survive on your own. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah.
So heading on over here to another one.
Sure.
Sony took down an interview that was done with Neil Druckmann
I saw this.
over Naughty Dog. So the story has evolved a little bit since it first broke and since I first put it on there. So the initial story was bro just went off the rails and started just saying shit. It's since it's a combination of walked back and done via like a damage control situation to where he was just more so like, he didn't explain what he was saying. It was more so an over exaggeration of things. Like an example of like one of the things that they're working on right now, he said, is going to change the way that entertainment is viewed and consumed around the world, like forever. And they had said, well, kind of, but it's more so like, just because we're going to be doing like an episodic thing, kind of, it's going to be more like a TV show, which is not unique, by the way.
No,
that's
not at
like,
all.
this is like the 4th time that this has been said. Even
and it's
like
usually a failure.
The Spartan Ops in Halo 4 was presented as that. It's supposed to be a new epic way to tell a story. So yeah, I don't know what the hell that's actually going to be, but I do think it's great that Sony at least was like, hey, we need to take this down because it's promising and saying a lot of shit that people are going to take out of context.
Neil Druckmann, look, I don't know the dude, and I don't follow him that closely, but everything that I've seen about, and I'm just not one to go super hate on somebody unless I know. He just seems like such a fucking narcissist, like with the way he talks and the way he talks about his games, like, and like he's one of those guys that like it's never his fault when something goes wrong. When something goes right, it's all him, and like I just don't like that shit. You know, I don't like that shit at all. Like, I think he's just, I don't know. he's just this guy that, like, I don't know. I don't like him. He's always got an excuse for something. He's always got, like, and he's crazy when he does interviews. Like, it's this kind of narcissism stuff, like, that he'll just go fucking batshit and be like, we're the greatest ever. And it's just like, okay, all right, okay, chill, okay? So I don't know. It's a little irritating with him. So I could kind of see him fucking up. I do like that Sony took down the interview and they were like, okay, this is, we need to stop this right now. We need to nip this in the bud before we have another, like, can't deliver on promise sort of situation.
Right. The decline of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League continues. Apparently last week it peaked at just under 560 players concurrently on Steam, putting up those Avengers numbers already. And they just announced that they are ending their weekly developer updates on the game. I'm willing to call it now dead.
Yeah.
This is the first death rattle.
I'm going to tell you right now, they better give some sort of credit to these people who paid Season Pass and only got the Joker. Look, I don't like to see games fail in this, especially in this economy, just because, we watched one game fail for Arcane Austin and they're not a studio anymore, and there's a lot of people out of work. When there's already a ton of people out of work. That being said, like, regardless of the developers who worked on this, who I appreciate their time and effort, and I am sure it was not their fault, this is a train wreck. It's a train wreck game that should fail. Like, you tried to make Destiny out of the Suicide Squad. It shouldn't be a success. And also, it should be an example. It should really be an example. And it's not. That's what bothers me so much about AAA gaming. Is like WB was like, we're doubling down on this. Like, why? They just showed you they don't want that. People just showed you. Like, just were like, hey, here's this game's a service game. We would prefer no. Like, that. They just showed you that, and you're like, all right, well, we'll just make another games as service one. One of these will hit. What are you doing? How much money do you want to lose before you realize that people are not on that kick? Or at least if they're on that kick, you need to make a quality product out of it, you know? And the thing is even if WB made a quality product at this moment in time, I think just because of their past at this point in time, and this is the trust thing that we've talked about before, just because of their past, I don't think people are going to buy it. If they turned around tomorrow and were like, here's a games of service Lord of the Rings game, take a look at how fucking cool this is, I don't think anybody would purchase it, even if it was a 10 out of 10 game, because of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That's what they're going to think this is. And then the minute they hear WB talking about microtransactions and battle passes and seasonal yada yadas, they're going to be like, nope, Suicide Squad, they're trying to Destiny Lord of the Rings. That's what they're going to do, and they're going to walk away again. And these companies need to get it through the thick fucking dumb skulls that it is better to make a good game than a shitty game with a lot of microtransactions, because you don't make any money off microtransactions if nobody plays the game.
Yeah, and I think now Rocksteady, before it was just Warner Brothers. Before it was just Warner Brothers, like, they're going to do some shit, but, Rocksteady used to have that, well, they did Arkham, so, hey, man, like, that should be all right. And then we had Gotham Knights, and it was like, okay, well, I see the bones there, but, they shoved a little bit of the live servicey stuff in there, but, maybe they just made a mistake one time. They'll get it figured out. And then Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, and everybody's fears being basically immediately confirmed.
They doubled down in the wrong direction. Like, and Arkham Knights, first of all, I want to point out, Arkham Knights, I did not play it, but I know some people who played it. They thought it was a decent game. That being said, I don't think Arkham Knights could have been a bad game. I was originally very excited for it. You could make that game games as service, definitely, and have it work. The problem is that it was real buggy and glitchy, from what I understand, in the beginning. Like, it was a fucking mess. Yeah. And the story did not make sense with the Arkham story, which, again, doesn't make sense. But then so you see that, which was lukewarm success at best, and that's at best. It was pretty cold, actually. But So you go in the other direction. Instead of making it slightly less games of servicey, you literally like, we're just gonna do Destiny with King Shark. It's fucking the stupidest shit ever. We're gonna add guns. That's what Arkham Knights was missing. Gear score. Like, no, it wasn't, bro. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. And that's something that just needs to stop with AAA gaming. And Rocksteady, I don't have any faith in them as a company anymore. Not only did they make this shitty game, but they made this shitty game in the storyline. The one that they should have made in the storyline, which was Arkham Knights, they didn't. They were like, no, that's not an Arkham follow-up. Okay. I mean, it doesn't make sense because you kill Batman, and then it would make sense because you've got these guys trying to kind of live up to Batman, yada, yada, yada. No, that's not in it. This one is, and we're going to take the Batman stuff and just pound it into the ground, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, they failed, story failed, they failed everybody on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And now it's kind of like we talked about, like, you know, their name is now tainted. Mm-hmm. The Big next time. Game that they have, I mean, with everything else, like you said, they doubled down on live servicey stuff because whatever the dumb excuse was that they gave. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So the last ones are all funny, dumb, stupid ones, though. So
yay!
In the home stretch, lots of funny, doofy stuff. And we'll start with the celebration of the launch of the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake.
Okay.
A game that I will probably be picking up at some point.
That's fair.
I love the OG Paper Mario. There's been a lot of information and news coming out about this. Interestingly enough, I guess people who bought the game also were sent like a poll, like survey to see how their feelings are on the game. And the last time they did that was after Super Paper Mario came out, wondering how people felt about the change in direction of the Paper Mario games. So that then from there yielded the grab bag that is Paper Mario up until this point. So now we're hoping that means they're gonna chill out with Paper Mario and just have it be, you know, traditional ass Paper Mario. But that's neither here nor there. To celebrate the launch of the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door on Switch, Nintendo has a paper airplane that you can download and make. Aww. You can download this paper airplane and print it out and make it. But they don't give you any instruction. Their instructions are a promotional video featuring a man literally named John the Paper Airplane Guy Collins, who is a former world record holder of something regarding airplanes, paper airplanes. And the whole video is him talking about how much he loves paper airplanes, and let me show you how to fold this one up.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. On the subject of Mario, they do need to leave it the same way and stop messing with it. I also think that Mario, as a game, lacks, like, it is such a rich IP, and they only use it for, like, 2 genres of games.
Yeah. Like,
and everything else is either, like, a crapshoot or bastardization of, like, one of the other two, basically. Like, right. Why don't we have a good turn-based Mario? I know we had Mario v. Rabbids, whatever, but, like, why don't we have the Mario RPG back, or even Paper Mario as a turn-based kind of Mario game, like the old school? Why don't we have that? Why don't we have a strategy game with Mario? Why don't we have these things? Like, Mario is a rich IP that is underutilized with Nintendo.
Well, what's crazy, too, about the RPG aspect of it, there was a period of time where there were 2 separate Mario RPG, turn-based RPG game series. We had the Paper Mario games, and then we had the Mario and Luigi games.
Yeah.
And, crazy enough, there was a Mario and Luigi game called Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, which actually crossed the 2 over. So, like, they were doing this for a while, yeah. And then I think they kind of figured, well, we have the Mario and Luigi games to scratch that turn-based RPG itch, so we're going to do something else with Paper Mario.
Right.
Fine. but they haven't been making Mario and Luigi games. So I feel like I'm really hoping they bring it back to the roots of that. But overall, yeah, it's just like there was a period of time where they did that. Like, hey, golfing, let's slap Mario in it. Soccer, slap some Mario in it.
And I would say they still do that on the sports end, because Switch has seen a new Mario Tennis, a new Mario Golf, and a new Mario Strikers. So they've kept the sports going. They've at least had some updates to the Mario Party. But like strategy and turn-based, completely untapped whatsoever in the Mario world, you know? I would say the fighting games have too, but I think they consider Smash that, so
yeah,
it is. Like it's their kind of catch-all. But there's a lot of genres of Mario games that I could see. That's one of the reasons that I kind of felt that Princess Peach Showtime was kind of a letdown, because I just kind of felt like it was like a bastardization of the original two Marios, but let's make Peach dress up in some silly outfits, you know, like whereas they could have done something really interesting with that IP, you know.
Yeah. So, do you remember the Playdate?
Do you remember? The what?
The Playdate. It was an indie handheld console with crank on. Came out a couple years ago.
I do not.
So, yeah, there was an indie console that was made, and it was completely like hand crank powered. So it came like preloaded with some games on it.
Powered?
Yes, it had a little battery in there, and you hand cranked it to generate some power for it, and then you were good to go on that. These things were very, very popular when they came out. They came around...
I remember this. I do remember this.
Around 2019, 2020-ish, something like that.
2019.
So, apparently, a while ago, somebody stole a shipment of these consoles.
Okay.
And nobody knew where they went at all. So this has been a couple months since this happened. Apparently, about a week or so ago, they turned up in front of a random restaurant in Las Vegas on the pavement. Like,
really?
Completely out of the blue. The whole flat of them was just there.
What? So they didn't sell them at all?
No, it's like somebody stole them. I almost wonder if like somebody stole them thinking it was something else, like thinking they were stealing like graphics cards or some shit, like they're going to turn a profit on them and everything like that. And then once they actually got their hands on what it was, like, we don't want these shits, and just drop them off the back of a truck.
But like, how long was it lost for?
The article said a couple months.
Okay. All right. That's weird.
So, like, it took you that long to figure out you didn't want them?
It almost feels like it was misshipped.
Right.
It got, like, lost in transit, like, not stolen, and people thought it was stolen, but, like, it got shipped somewhere, and it just finally got to the restaurant that it wasn't supposed to be shipped to.
It's
weird.
That sounds like it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's the thing. It's like nobody fucking knows.
Because, I mean, you could still sell the fucking things. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know why you wouldn't, you know, just go on eBay and some shit. Nobody's going to fact check you.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's weird. All right, so one more?
One more.
All right, let's do it.
And this one was absolutely fantastic because I always kind of wondered.
Okay.
So the voice actor for Shadow the Hedgehog, for the Shadow the Hedgehog games, Jason Griffith, said that Sega actually... You saw this article?
I saw this article, yeah.
Sega has apparently a trove of him as Shadow swearing like crazy. Because apparently at one point, Shadow the Hedgehog was supposed to be rated M.
M for mature, yeah.
Yes. So, like, the dude gave an example, and he had said in this article, like, the amount of swearing was insane. Like, he recounted a line, it was something to the effect of, Sonic, give me the fucking emerald right now. Like, for no reason other than to say fuck. Like, just because you had to find a way to say it.
I think it would be really weird, too, if that was the only game that Shadow was swearing in. You know what I mean? Like, every other game's PG. But, like, then you go back to a PG one, it's like, you know, Shadow, I remember your vernacular was quite different in the last game I played where you were shooting people in the face with an AK-47.
Right.
I mean, that game is already kind of like a true outlier, kind of like, in my opinion, in my opinion, it's kind of a cult classic, like of Sonic games. Like, I don't know that I would say it's like super fun or anything, but just for the wild juxtaposition, if you've been a Sonic fan your entire life and then you pick up Shadow the Hedgehog and you're suddenly just murdering people with an AK-47 and like kicking Robotnik off cliffs and stuff, and you're just like, wow, did Sonic Team like have some shit happen to them? Like, what had happened in that building, man? I mean, but if he was also swearing, just running around like, fucking Sonic. Oh, fucking Chaos Control.
Right.
Like every time he says Chaos Control, say fuck. Chaos Control, fuck. Let's make it.
Oh, yeah. I
want that.
wondered about that.
I want that audio. I want it so bad. It hurts.
Yeah,
me.
I feel like that audio would be great. It needs to be released to the public.
Release
somehow.
the fuck cut, Sega. Release the fuck cut. Get that trending on Twitter. So that's it then.
Yes, that is it.
All right, let's take a second, collect ourselves, and then do some plugs.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that brings us to the end of the show and the shameless self-promotion that comes with it. Neil, would you like to plug anything?
Yes, sir. So last week we plugged a thing, and if you paid attention,
That's my fault. My fault, guys.
it didn't happen. Yeah, no, it's totally fine. Just because it was definitely like, hey, by the way, when that even happened. So the planning was not even great.
Yeah, I went to put it onto my calendar and realized how many things I already had that week, and I was like, I can't do another thing in this week.
Yeah.
Like I just can't. So yeah, sorry.
So not this coming Wednesday, but next Wednesday,
Yes.
we're going to be doing the Spartan Ops in Halo 4, their version of
Gonna be
Firefight.
trying to.
Yeah, I'm excited personally for it, just
And
because
he is alone.
I've never played it. That's the one thing I know of it. I know it exists. I've never played it, so I'll be very interested to see overall.
I don't know
how that
why
is.
you would want to pick somebody who would be literally out to ruin your experience with this, to play it with you first.
'Cause it's the only
but
way to do it.
I feel like Kayla alone would be nicer to you than like both of us in there with you, because I'm just gonna be bitching about it
Yet
the entire
somehow,
time. I cannot.
you two together are going to be hyping each other up.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be fun though, I think.
Yes.
For at least one of us.
For at least one of us, it'll be a
Who
good
knows
time.
which one?
For
Who knows which one?
33% of us, it'll be a
Who
great
knows which
time.
one? That stream, the Last of 3 Return stream, will be a week from this Wednesday, when this comes out. So when this launches, 1 week from that day, we'll be doing it, which I think is, I want to say the 13th or the 14th, somewhere in there. So check that out. Be 9:30. It'll be exciting. We'll have a lot of fun with it. And I am sorry as well that we didn't do it when we advertised it the last week. That is on me, 100%. Also, I can say that the actual play that we did for Ordo Scriptorium will probably be coming out in July. So keep on the lookout for that, because Neil and Kayla were in that as well. Basically, they were play testing Ordo Scriptorium, but we want to release those with the release of Ordo Scriptorium, and we have to finish editing that. It should only take us another couple of weeks, and then we will be putting it out, and then we will, of course, be releasing the audio of that. So you guys have less than a month to wait for that. I want to say, on the RPG side, we will be launching our Doctor Who actual play in a couple of weeks. I haven't quite picked another day, but keep a lookout for that. But that is coming this month. And then shirts. Buy shirts. I'm pretty sure I'm going to edit the ad into the beginning of this. But yeah, we have shirts now. 2 shirts available. They are at wizardsrespite.com. I'll try and include a link in the description below. And yeah, go buy them. They're relatively fairly priced, I believe. And I have not purchased one yet, but the people who have informed me that they're very comfortable. So you have that to look forward to. And yeah, other than that, I've been releasing a lot of stuff. I've been doing the For Honor Fantasy Hero, some highlights in that. We're also doing OMGM. Prelude to Divorce is coming back. Me and Melissa finish our hard playthrough of Oregon, and by finish, I mean finish. Yeah, that's it, guys. You can reach us on Facebook at Old Man Gaming DH, on Twitter at Old Man Gaming 9. You can join our Discord, links in the description below. Influence us in all of our shows from there. As long as you guys keep watching and you keep listening, we will keep making them. We will see you next week. Pause. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get on today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, my kid's birthday was not today, but last Saturday. Mm-hmm. Which she had a really good birthday. She got a lot of stuff she wanted. One of the things she wanted and she got was from her Uncle Phil, Billy 330, if this makes the show, Buildmaster General. Got her a Tamagotchi. She's been obsessed with getting a Tamagotchi. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know some things about Tamagotchi, and I don't think Phil knew some things about Tamagotchi. I don't think anybody that we know knew some things about Tamagotchi, or at least involved in the situation. Maybe you did. Tamagotchis live for like 12 days tops, and that's if you do everything right. They're not like with you forever. So no matter what you do with them, they like the absolute best you can ever do is keep them alive for 12 days.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Stella had to confront death for the first time, and it was rough. And what's even worse...
No.
What's even worse about Tamagotchis is you can do everything right. Everything right, and still they just croak for no reason. Like, there's like a random chance to it on, like, this, I think, like, the second evolution or whatever. So... she got the thing to 6 years old, and every day is a year for them. Mm-hmm. And it died. And literally 20, 30 minutes, like, I'm talking, like, blubber crying, like, loud scream crying from a child just on my lap. Me trying to explain that, like, you gave this Tamagotchi a really happy time. They only lived to be 12. Like, Melissa frantically trying to look up what she did wrong. And the poor girl is like, I didn't do anything wrong. I cleaned its poop. I gave it medicine. I gave it food. She's been on this Tamagotchi. But it died. So we find out that, like, no matter what, like, 12 is the absolute max. And the only way to get it there is to do all these weird, like, little hidden cheats that you don't even know about. Like only give it burgers on certain times and stuff like that instead of cake. And little teeny cheats. So 6 was really good. Like, all things considered. Like, 6, it's really good. Really long lasting. She did not understand that principle right away. We finally explain it to her. She resets the Tamagotchi. She starts over. Tamagotchi number 2 just died. Like, I told you, 5 minutes, went to the bathroom. While I'm sitting on the can, the door explodes open. It is my child. The Tamagotchi is dying. I thought, oh, well, that's it for the podcast, because she's going to be crying for the next 40 minutes. She's taking it much better this time around. She was very sad, but she's like, no, that's sad. But she seemed to be okay with it. But yeah, I didn't know. I thought once you had a Tamagotchi, it just lasted as long as you kept it alive. I didn't know it was like a try to keep it alive as long as humanly possible thing. And that's what Stella thought too. I think that's what everybody thought. But yeah, it can't live past 12 days. Like, 12 days is this absolute, like, it locks it out, and then you have to reset anyway. Like, so yeah. Fun stuff.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Right?
I remember I had back in the day one of the little the Digimon Digivices. That was the same thing. It was the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I had one of those. And I do remember being younger, like, actually taking this thing, like, literally everywhere.
Right.
Like, because it was the same sort of thing. It was like, well, I can't leave it at home alone, because then it'll think that I don't love it.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's exactly how Stella's been.
School, everything. It was always with me.
Yeah, it's been attached to her since she got it. It is a great gift. It's just none of us knew that it was going to die.
No.
like we thought, she keeps feeding it, it'll be fine. And nope. They just die. Because I remember, like, I don't know what she did wrong. Like, I'm not going to scold her. She's been, for 6 days, this thing hasn't left her hip. She has stopped everything to feed it when it asks for food and to give it medicine when it gives, you know what I mean? Whenever it beeps, she's there. So, like, for it to die, I was like, I don't think you did anything wrong. And she's just like, I killed it. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, you didn't do anything wrong.